team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about the bills. We'll be running out the tunnel, better stay up on your heels. We might leave your ankles on the field, put you on the rail. How you feel? Feel the watch the sweep just like a broom. Hail Mary, and put his GM in a tomb. Make some room, call it time out, cause they not ready. Think they feeling all the pressure, cause they know I apply it heavy. Try to cover one-on-one, my cuss gon' be too deadly. Have him watching all that film while he's snuggling on his teddy. Man, who let me step up in the game with a mindset of making sure I'm heard. I'm point intended, it ain't time yet. When it is, I bet you know. Don't fix your legs to come around me if you acting all scary in the snow. Oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When the kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about them bills. Oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel. I don't wanna hear none if it ain't about them bills. Make sure your helmet on tight and your mouthpieces in. Make sure your team get right before they put you on the bench. If it's Monday night, you know it's prime time. I can see your head now, all the way from the sideline. He said, hey, we make a play, and we do a high five. When I said I do to the game, I knew that she mine. Fly high, all the fallen soldiers, yeah, they were some legends. Bills by $1 billion, boy. That's how we steppin'. He was trying to dog my team, we took an L. But I bet by next week, we gon' breach and give him hell. Put you through a table, he not using any weapons. Let me know where you from, how you coming, what you reppin', call the reppin'. Oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride how we ride for our team, and that's for real. Oh, you said something. When they kick off, he gon' kneel.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the new iteration of Fambase Sports. All right, I'm Justice General Radford. That's, of course, the legend in 2 games, no Pee-wee, Coach Mookie Hawkins, championship Coach Mookie Hawkins in the building. Yeah, well, hey, no more believe, but you know what I'm saying? We still got to give the people the content. We still got to let people know what's going on, but here we are, man. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm always going to believe, so we ain't got to worry about that. But say what? We about to believe in this roster in just a minute. We about to believe in these rookies that we got, you know, in this year's draft class. So, yeah, I know it gives the Bills fans a lot of excitement, you know, going into. I guess this is a new era, if you want to say, you know, when you pretty much clean house and 28 guys that was on your roster is not here anymore. You know, it's exciting to see what's next. You know, especially with Josh involvement. So. Got some good pieces. Got ourselves a schedule on. There's about an hour and some change. So let's have at it.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get into that schedule leak a little bit later. We're going to talk about some training camp first. But, I mean, you know, as you mentioned it, there's the roster build, the way that it's set up now. A lot of people are skeptical. Hey, we still got 17. All right. We still got 17. Okay. We still got a ton of talent around 17. And then, of course, you know, say what you want about McDermott. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator, you know, if nothing else. So still got his mastermind, his beauty, his, you know, defensive prowess, you know, on that side of the football as well. But let's go ahead and get into some free agency talk. Now, Coach, obviously, as a reporter for the Bills, you are there inside and you kind of get inside scoop on everything. How is the rookies looking? And specifically, let's talk about Keon Coleman and Cole Bishop. How are they looking in minicamp?
Keon Coleman is looking, I didn't put it out there, but Brandon Beane was walking by during rookie minicamp, and I said, you know what, I forgot to tell you, you know, again, why you are the burglar, because you be stealing every round. You stole every round, and he stole Keon Coleman, but this time he played with everybody. It's like, I'm gonna show you how to steal. I'm gonna move back, because this guy is still on the board right here. Due to the bad 40 time, he will be here first pick in the second round. And I'm going to show you how to steal, because he looks totally different from what I saw at the combine, how he's more fluid in and out of his breaks. He caught just about every ball. I got one one drop, but you look at the quarterbacks that were there, so at the end of the day, he definitely showed, what the Bills are looking for. Definitely an athlete, can run the routes, if that's what everybody wanting to know. He can run the routes to where he will get separation. He got separation here, and I get it. He's a rookie. Will he be able to do it on this level? I believe that he would. And, nobody really gave him a comp, but I'm going to go ahead and say Keon Coleman is more of a Dez Bryant, just more twitch to him. He is a more twitchy Dez Bryant. The way he goes after a ball, and hey, Dez Bryant wasn't the best of receiver as far as getting separation. Now if he beat you and get a step, he is a big guy too. So, he know how to use his size and, the pure athleticism. I would give him that comp. And what I saw at rookie minicamp, I think the Bills definitely got a good find right there in the second round. And Coleman, a guy, especially where his receiver room is definitely shaking out. Again, his role is not going to be to replace Stephon Diggs. His role is going to probably be a little bit more dynamic than Stephon Diggs, more or less, because of the athleticism and, the big catch radius. So, it's going to be an easier target for Josh in those scramble drills. I can tell you that. Scramble drills has gotten a lot easier with the revamping of that wide receiver room.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy there's no more Smurfs. All right. We got 2 Smurfs left, and they fit the bill. All right. They fit the bill. You know what I mean? So other than that, everybody else is 6'3" or better. I'll take a Shakur that can run, all the routes and as clutch as he is, like he was last year. And then, hey, you got Curtis Samuel, who's going to be the yards after the catch guy. You got to read in between the lines of what Brandon Bean be talking about. When he said, they don't mean the whole receiving room is going to have that ability, even though they do. In a certain extent, some have it more than others, right? Some bring more to the table than, everybody has a role. All right. So imagine Curtis Samuel running underneath Kincaid, Coleman, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and hey, you throw Shakur out there. You got to throw Shakur out there, right now. Imagine that underneath game. This is where Josh really evolves as a quarterback. You have to take what they give you this year. And you got to listen to Brady. Brady told you. You got to take what they give you. Get that underneath, because now you got a guy like Curtis Samuel catch the ball underneath and nobody's around him 5 yards away from him. That's a touchdown. So that's a pick your poison situation too. Do you come up and stop the bleeding? We got 6'4" guys now, so we can go over the top with ease, right? So I like, how this thing is shaking out. I like how they are understanding one another from a front office perspective to a general manager perspective, and the coaching that's going to develop all that stuff. So seems like they all on the right page. I did like how Coach Brady and Coach Henry was interacting with each other when it came to the offense and Keon. So, I didn't see that in Dorsey. Just that, that symmetry between those two. They were, right there together, going over things together, just sharing ideas, just bouncing off one of each other, and, talking to Keon Coleman all together. So to see that, that was a good plus, what I saw out of, the coaches there. And, make no mistake about it, Coach McDermott, man, he's a hands-on guy, but he let his coaches coach. And that's one thing I definitely love about Coach McDermott. He let his coaches coach. And, so rookie minicamp, that's what it was all about. He definitely let all his coaches coach. And, some guys definitely showed out. Keon Coleman, hey, I gave that a star. I gave that a star, rating. Cole Bishop was, again, the same guy that plays down in the box like Poyer. That's going to punch you in the mouth, being 6'2", 210, runs with 4.5. So he's athletic in that regard, but has the ball skills like a Micah Hyde. Again, at 6'2", 210 pounds. And this is a guy that had to check Dalton Kincaid every day at practice. So if Kincaid is first round, tight end, then the guy who was checking him in practice, he has to be a dude too, right? So, Cole Bishop is a dude. and I'm really excited to see how his development is going to grow. It's really he lacks the tutelage of a Micah Hyde being out there with him. Mike Edwards is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but he still is finding his way as well. Tyler Rapp, he's the last guy that's been under those guys, but it was only 1 year. So how much did he really take in? So who knows? It's still a few more spots on the roster. We'll get something out of Micah Hyde pretty soon, right? I guess this week. Little Buffalo or something. He'll come back one more time. I think he will. Other than that, then June 1st kicks around, and maybe Justin Simmons or something will appear. I think the offense is sold up now. The Bills did the inevitable as far as like the receiver. They gave everybody what they wanted as far as receivers. Probably not their choice guy, but they definitely made it probably the best competitive receiving group in this era, of being in McDermott as far as that wide receiver. It's going to be crazy to see how many receivers they keep, one, and then who's going to survive, two. So that's pretty interesting. But again, Cole Bishop was a great pick at pick 60. They definitely stole him for what they need him to do. Again, only thing I say is that veteran presence that helped guide him in certain situations in game. In game, that's a big difference. So, again, that may get handled in a couple of weeks. That get handled. But yeah, Carter. I gave Cole Bishop. His stock is up. Carter. I want to see more out of Carter. But the intangibles and everything that what they got him for. You see the high motor. But I want to see more get off. You see the motor, but I want to see more get off out of him. And, again, that was of his peers right there. That's rookie minicamp. So him against Osiris Torrance, how that's going to look, So I gave him even Steven because I like what I saw, from tape to what I saw in minicamp. So gave him an even Steven. I think he's going to learn quite well with the veteran group of guys that he has in the room with him. You got Daquan Jones or Ed Oliver. You bring a Austin Johnson in, right? You bring a Deshaun Williams. You bring a Smoot. So you definitely got some guys that, there's some veteran guys that can help him along the way. And come next year, the training was definitely going to be off. It'll be. I want to see what that looked like with him and Ed in the pass rush situation. Him and Ed Oliver, on the passing situation, 3rd and long or whatever. What that would look like. So, we'll see. We'll see. I gave that one an even. Ray Davis looked so smooth out there. Last weekend. He's definitely shifty. So it's going to be. He reminds me of a Travis Henry. Travis Henry could catch. He's like a pinball out there, right? But this guy is a little bit more shiftier. He's very agile, at the point of attack. Like in the whole one-on-one with a linebacker, he could throw a move there. He'll hit you with a spin move. He'll jump cut real, at the drop of a dime as well. To be 5'8", 5'9", that's showing agility, that's showing athleticism. And, that is shoulder to low where, maybe you'll see more James Cook on the outside, outside zone, pitches, screens, just getting him the ball in open space. And, you got Ty Johnson and Ray Davis now to complement, James Cook. Because definitely, no doubt, it's definitely going to go through Cook. It's definitely going to go through Kincaid. It's definitely going to go to your dogs right now. Samuel and Shakur right now, and Dawson Knox. Them are the trusted dogs, right now until, everybody else has to build that trust. We know eventually Keon Coleman is going to have that with Josh. I'm quite sure they're doing that right now, behind the scenes. But, Carter, I gave him a plus. I gave Ray Davis, his stock was up. Next pick after that was the center from out of Georgia, Van Pram. I gave him a 50-50. I want to see more out of him. He struggled with footing. He just couldn't, get his, he just struggled with footing. I don't know if that's something had to do with the cleats he was wearing, or he just didn't have the feet.
Footing or footwork, like
The
just
footing,
slipping?
the footing. Just when the ball is snapped, you just get into your mark sometimes, and again, it's stud action, so maybe this guy's getting bumped. I don't have time to like review it or anything, but just by the naked eye, when I saw just watching him, I was like, okay, I want to see more, again out of him. But he was at the helm the entire time, and he looked it pretty good. The offensive line that the Bills had out there for rookies was pretty sharp. Was pretty sharp, But I want to see more out of Van Pran. The rookie from out of Washington, Eddie Ulofoshio. His IQ, Washington's defense is similar to what the Bills run, so he's just a perfect scheme fit. They moved him around a little bit just to see what he would know. Maybe switch linebacker. You got to find his way to get on there. The linebackers are a deep unit, right? So I'm figuring that he's just going to be that developmental piece. Just dive right into the playbook and be the Tyler Matakevich replacement, for the most part. And then we'll see, how the season goes. Next year or whatever the case may be, if guys move on, because you still got Deion Jones, you still got Nicholas Morrow, 1 year guys, but you figure they should beat him out, for at least a roster spot. If not, Bills is out with that youth movement right now, so we'll see. We'll definitely have to see with that, but more of a developmental piece, just because of what you got in Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, and Dorian Williams for starters, is definitely going to at least have him the fourth guy, coming in, and then, Baylon Spector, how that's going to go. Let's not forget about him. So, yeah, he's coming into a deep class. I gave him a 50-50 even Steven. Want to see more of him. Javon Solomon is as advertised. I know everybody want to keep talking about that. Oh, he's undersized. The man had 16 sacks last year. Led the entire college in sacks. I don't care what level that's on. All right, he's going to big against guys that's bigger than him. Everything. He has a specialty of getting to the quarterback. No matter how he do it, if he's 6'1", 6'2", however he's doing it, it definitely translated, because I counted 2 sacks out of there that he would have had out there. He would have easily had. He make up for it in areas. Again, low man wins in football, right? But he has a motor. He has a relentless motor, and he's technical with his hands. So I'm going to love to see what Von Miller is going to teach this guy. It's Big Von and Little Von now. What Big Von is going to teach Little Von, the tricks of the trade, and he's going to be a monster. I see him making a roster.
Me too.
I see him making a roster. I don't, Bill's going to be modest about it, but I see him making a roster for all the same reasons, right? This guy had 16 sacks. You mean to tell me he can't get half that in his more games? You got to at least get a top pass rusher of mine is 15 or better. You got to at least have 15 sacks or better. That 10 sacks is good, but that's half a season. If I'm paying you X amount of dollars, I'm expecting a little bit more production, than 10 sacks. You're an elite pass rusher if you're getting 15 or more. 10, you're good, but you're not elite. And that's the difference on clutch situations, in clutch moments, in pivotal games. Playoffs, AFC championships. Yeah, that tight. That's what I'm talking about. So Solomon definitely looked it pretty good out there over the weekend game. Home definitely, arrow up. Who else do we have after him? We had Daquan Hardy. Daquan Hardy, I want to see more of him. I think he was out of alignment one time, so that's what stood out to me. But, again, the Bills got all athletes, all the draft picks, they're athletes in their own right in the positions that they play in. So, everything looked pretty good. I would like to see, I'm excited to see what he's going to do in returning punts. I want to see him return a punt. I want to see that's what his strong suit is. Now, he play that nickel, he'll take one. He's going to prime time back to the house. But I just want to see, the electric side of him when returning punts. I want to see that 4.38 speed. So it's going to be a while before we see that. But, again, I want to see more of him. Grable, the 7th round pick from out of UCF. Want to see more of him. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. He moved pretty well. Again, he played tight end. He played quarterback. So the IQ is there. It's just, again, he's another development project. That they're going to develop because what are you going to do with Tommy Doyle? Spencer Brown contract is up as well. Then you got a bunch of linemen that's on 1-year deal. So at some point, the Bills are really going to have to start developing their own guys again. Such as the Deion Dawkins and the Osiris Torrances and the Spencer Browns. So you got to start somewhere, and I think that's going to be a nice developmental piece for years to come. We'll just have to see, what he's going to do when he go up against more, guys like Von Miller, AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau. When that time comes, how these guys are really going to fare. When the rookies play the big dogs, how are they going to fare, right? So, definitely want to see more of him. And then you got, the UK star, right? He's definitely going to need some work. Size is definitely, he sticks out, right? But he's never played the game, right? So I'm not really expecting too much out of him. That probably was the first time he was in an NFL helmet with some action, like, you know what I'm saying? So definitely, I got to give that a, stock down because it is what it is with him. He's from overseas international pathway program, and I'm not expecting too much, out of him unless if he's doing some drills or something like that. It's going to look damn good. But, in the heat of the battle, he's definitely learning the game. He's super green. So, I want to see more of him. So I got to keep it with a buck and say stock was down. You know what I mean? But that's expected out of him. So overall mini camp was good out of the draft picks. The UDFAs, I did like Xavier Johnson. The Swiss Army knife. He played running back. He returned kicks, played wide receiver at Ohio State. He can run all the routes.
Oh, excuse us, guys.
Oh. We had a glitch in the Matrix there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a go-to guy at minicamp. And, he caught passes from everywhere. And, he looked good. Kenny H. Lovely looked lovely out there. Soon when they, got things started, he come out with the pick 6 right off the rip. Looking like Rasul Douglas a little bit out there from Western Michigan. So it was good to see him flash, as well out there. There was a Trill Williams signing. Everybody know who Trill Williams is. He was the safety from out of Syracuse, the Rochester native, playing, New York City native. Iona Prep, they played Canisius. I had Canisius. That's how I know Trill Williams. But 6'2" safety, he was there. He looked pretty good in coverage. What other UDFAs looked pretty good? Frank Gore Jr., obviously, right? The pedigree is there. He looked very smooth. He caught the ball well out of the backfield, and yeah, he caught on real quick. Obvious that is with the pedigree in mind of who his father is. So that was good to see out of the UDFAs. And Michael Edwards, guard. 6'6", 365, 365. Don't look like it, but yeah, you put him together, over there with Spencer Brown. The Bills got some mammoth guys and some mammoth receivers. So finally, we're gonna have some giants out there playing and less Smurfs. So UDFA is looking good, rookie class is looking good. We'll see how things materialize during the rest of these phases of OTAs going into training camp.
All right. Well, you pretty much ran through the entire training camp. So let's just go ahead and might as well get to the schedule release at this point. All right, so what's going on? Like, you want to let us know what the Bills schedule is going to be looking like this season?
I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Yeah, I mean, it's so many, basically the schedule is pretty much out. You just got to fill in the blanks, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could fill in the blanks. That shouldn't be too hard, looking at, what what's left, right?
Yeah.
What's left. Yesterday, I got news that the Bills were going to play week 1, Arizona Cardinals. And I threw it out there a little bit, and I said, okay, could be Arizona, could be Tennessee. So I put it in a poll, and I threw Patriots in there, and I don't know what other team I put in there, but I'm saying that week 1 will be at home versus the Cardinals. You get the Kyler Murray, the Bills. I wouldn't say get a tough opponent. The Bills have the 7th toughest schedule in the NFL. And, last time they played the Cardinals, we all know what happened there, right? The Hail Mary occurred. But this time, the Cardinals started in our backyard. But guess what? We got to go up against Marvin Harrison Jr. right off the whip, his rookie debut game, right? So, it's a lot of caveat to it. But, I think it's a fair matchup week 1 because, again, Bills lost 28 guys off last year's roster. And, the Cardinals, pretty much similar in, their roster and makeup. So I think it'll be a good match week 1. Kyler Murray versus Josh Allen. Season opener at home, 1 o'clock. Some normalcy there. So normalcy. What do you think? What do you think about Arizona week 1?
Yeah, first of all, it's a good, very, very good test for our fresh secondary, right? You get a couple of very talented wide receivers to go up against. However, they're a little inexperienced, especially when you consider Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison went to the Cardinals, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you consider Marvin Harrison Jr. So again, Kyler Murray is a fantastic quarterback. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see where all the Kyler Murray slander comes from. I get, every quarterback has their own little, you can nitpick it at things or whatever the case may be, but I think he's ultra talented and can obviously win football games for his team. So like I said, it'll be a great, great test for our new defense, to kind of go up against. I'm really not worried about our offense. As you mentioned earlier, you could just read between the lines and kind of see what the philosophy is moving towards, right? Is they're going to try to make it not as much on Josh as it always has been, right? Before we were very, very top heavy with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. The rest was kind of just like, all right, well, kind of get in where you fit in, right? And then, last year you kind of get the emergence of a Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox, of course, is still there. James Cook solidified himself as one of the best backs in the league. Khalil Shakir kind of stepped up at the end of the season. So now you bring in guys like Valdez-Scantling and Chase Claypool and Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuels, some of those guys to bolster the wide receiver room, to add competition in camp. And iron sharpens iron, right? So if you got Josh Allen, the best quarterback and most talented quarterback in the league for sure, right, throwing the football all over the yard, you're going to make guys look good. And when guys look good, their confidence goes up. And when their confidence goes up, they play better. And when they play better, you win games. And when you win games, compete for championships. And I think that's what the Buffalo Bills are trying to do. I think, you get the Cardinals at home, right? 1 p.m., right? No pomp and circumstances, just win the football game, right? Go out there and, you get the raucous home crowd at 1 p.m. the way we like it, right? I feel like it's a great opportunity to go out there and kind of just show people like, you counted the Bills out, but hey, if we run through this team, no matter how good or bad they might be, a good win is a good win. You know what I mean? So I think it's an opportunity to get a nice little, beat up on the team potentially, hopefully, and kind of set the tone for the season. But week 2, they've already announced at Miami Thursday night. All right, Amazon. Okay, it's the Bezos game. First, so Miami. had the conference in the lock last year, and they just fumbled it away.
They didn't have it on lock.
They fumbled it away, and they let the Bills creep back up and take
You
it
know
away
they
from
weren't gonna beat Baltimore. Like everybody knew that Miami was gonna lose to those teams.
No. But when they lost to the Titans, that was their fumble.
Yeah, that was the super.
That was their fumble.
That was the fumble. But everybody knew that how that schedule makeup
After
was.
Titans, he was like, "Oh, the Bills got a chance."
All right, they're gonna lose that, and the Bills did what they were supposed to do. 7 games when you're back up against the wall. I ain't seen too many teams in the NFL do what the Bills did last year. So, that was a good sign. And during that stretch again, Diggs wasn't a factor production-wise, but he was a factor because of what he brought to the table. He demands a double team. He demands attention. So he got that attention that helped everybody else develop and get better.
Yep.
Other than that, now, hey, you know how that works. You become expendable in that same token. And now, hey, that's why you see the plethora of receivers. But then again, you gotta look at it. It's a new offensive coordinator. And he got to get to what his philosophy is and what he want his makeup to look like offensively.
Yeah.
Dorsey's makeup, I learned that from Dorsey. Dable's makeup, you would have figured would have been Dorsey's makeup, right? Because it was just so turnkey. He messed that pack up. He messed that up bad. He messed that up bad. So again, you see that now. I learned from that, and you see that in Brady. You see how many 6'4" receivers we got? Like they just bringing them in. Oh, you 6'4"? Okay. Hey, you 6'4"? Okay, come on. Like, where is this coming from? It's coming from Brady. This is what he looks for in his offense, but it makes sense. I've been saying this. Like Josh Allen is 6'5". Can he have a target his size?
Yeah.
It's easier to see 40 yards downfield, 30 yards downfield when the guy is just about the same size as you. Mm-hmm. All right, we get it. Tom Brady can put it in the phone booth, 30 yards. That's him. Okay. Get Josh a bigger target.
Yeah. And Tom still had Gronk, so
yeah, Gronk, he had Randy Moss. Look how easy it was for Tom Brady to go, deep with Randy Moss rather than Edelman.
Absolutely.
So that was my thing. So Brady has a grasp on what he wants, what he's looking for, and how it's going to help your quarterback for one. All right. So, man, I like that. I definitely like that. And you got to look at it too. We played the Patriots twice, Dolphins twice, and the Jets twice. Sauce Gardner, 6'3". Jalen Ramsey, 6'3". Christian Gonzalez, 6'3", 6'4".
That's a good point.
So you got to get receivers. Maybe Josh couldn't see Hardy on 3rd and 9 when he had the man beat, but he's 5'8". So the guy that's trailing he beat. That's probably the only thing that Josh Allen sees is Snead's back at 6'2", trying to chase Hardy. You know what I mean? So all that stuff comes into play. It's easier now for Josh to see those guys because they're 6'4", and in the 50-50 situation, I'm gonna go with my guy. I don't care if Sauce Gardner or whoever. It's gonna be tough for them to defend now because they're not used to, having somebody that's their caliber, their size, out there with them. They're normally the bigger physical cornerback, if you will. It's not going to happen this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned the 6'4" receivers. You think about what Brady, he was the offensive coordinator at LSU, when they got Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And so he's used to having talent to work with and putting them in the best positions to succeed. And when I was looking at Keon Coleman's tape, look, people killed me for this, but I really don't care. I know what I saw. I saw what I saw. And I saw LSU Justin Jefferson, at least a glimpse of it. And I was thinking, like, he kind of reminds me of that, right? If I had to give Keon Coleman a comp, I would say a little bit of Alshon Jeffrey is what I saw, right? But I saw a little bit of Justin Jefferson in him, right?
Way more athletic than Alshon Jeffrey.
That year when he was with Nick Foles, I'm not talking about like just regular, I'm talking about like peak Alshon Jeffrey. But when you go back and look at the draft analysis for Justin Jefferson, when I tell you it's damn near identical, identical to the draft analysis for Keon Coleman. This is not me saying he's going to be Justin Jefferson. I'm just simply saying same type of prospect. And I think that, you know what I'm saying, you put Keon Coleman with a Josh Allen, and the shades of Justin Jefferson is going to shine. If anywhere, is going to shine there, right? You could put anybody with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they're going to look like a pretty damn good receiver, right? So I think that this is the best opportunity for Keon Coleman to be his best self. And yeah, these big body receivers, clearly, like I said, like we said, there's a new philosophy offensively. Brady is definitely making it his own. And he 7-2 last season, after the season was basically given away by Ken Dorsey. Really, if anybody would have came in as the interim and not won 7-2 games and not made the playoffs, you couldn't really blame them for that.
But right? You got to look at the opponents. Don't just say 7 games. Say the opponents now. You got Philly in there. They know they should have won that game. Yeah. You got Dallas, Kansas City. You had some dogs in that sauce right there with that 7-game streak. When they had to win that 7 to win the division, it wasn't easy. The teams they had to face. So take that into consideration too. And now Brady has a full year. So again, week 2, Miami, Thursday night. It's still gonna be humid, but it won't be as hot. The sun will be down. Yeah. That'll be a plus, right? So, hey, we'll see what that game is going to be looking like early and often. Get that out of the way too, right? Especially to deal with Miami week 2, and you'll definitely be the front runner for the division, right? Because they're still saying that Miami's, I guess, the favorite now because of what, I don't know. But again, we're on to week 3. Week 3, the Bills will stay prime time. And Gabe Davis come home. Jacksonville, Monday night.
Jacksonville handles us for the most part whenever we play them. For whatever reason,
we got our back. We ain't overseas. Bills ain't overseas. They're at home now. Calvin Ridley there. We got somebody that can cover NTN now. So that's in the works. But Jacksonville come Buffalo Monday night prime time game. It's going to be pretty interesting because they're young. They have a nice receiver core as well. You have an ascending quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Nice running back in Travis Etienne. Defensive side is not slouchy at all. Got another Josh Allen over there. So, this game right here is going to be for the playoffs implications, Again, the Bills have the 7th toughest schedule. So, it's not an easy game on this schedule, just like how it was last year. But Jacksonville, you get that team early, and teams like that, when you play a team like that early, it's like you're still trying to get Book on them, right? Book really don't come out on teams until that 4th, 5th week tops. But that 3rd week, that's when, you start picking up things on teams, and teams have Book on you. But, it's still going to be a tough, that 3rd game. That's just like, okay, 1, 2, 3. You're going to get different variables those first 3 weeks of teams. It's not going to look the same. Then you can put it all together, after that, and teams really can study and break down film on you. They have more film to study, right? So the more the merrier. But again, Jacksonville is going to pose some problems. They posed some problems, last year. I don't know. This is Matt Milano's get back game. We lost Matt last year. Right. So,
do you think Matt Milano will be back by that point?
It's a possibility. It depends how he goes to training camp. He's a guy that could be on the roster, or he could be on the PUP and activated at any time. So I'm quite sure the Bills are going to look at every competitive way and edge they have to really rest those guys if they need to. Due to that fact. Fingers crossed that Von didn't re-injure anything last season, but you didn't get no production because of that.
Right.
I think they would probably learn and say, you know what, there was no rush to bring Matt Milano back with a healthy Bernard, Dorian Williams, some seasoned vets behind that. You know, let's see how that materializes. They have time to really evaluate that. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Week 4. Week 4. I think everybody know that one, right? That's been out there for Baltimore, right?
I don't
Anybody
think so.
know about it at Baltimore? Bills go to Baltimore. Another primetime game.
Mm-hmm.
This is when Bills will be prime time. You want prime time Bills, you're gonna get prime time Bills. So back to back to back. If anybody knows prime time over the past 4 years, 3 years for sure, it's the Buffalo Bills. So they're loading the Bills up early with prime time games. Who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows? So you get Lamar Jackson, a slimmer Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Week 4, you get Derrick Henry. You know,
And that defense.
yeah, you know, the defense is always that defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we'll see. We'll definitely see that. I mean, that's always a tough game. And I think, you know, the Ravens, for some strange reason, always bring the best out of the Bills, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, they play like they really got something to prove against the Ravens. Kansas City, it's a different vibe. You know what I mean?
You know what I think it is with the Ravens? I think it's the Ravens are like more one-dimensional than most teams. So, you know, anytime a team is one-dimensional, Sean McDermott eats them alive. And I genuinely think that is what it is with the Ravens. Because even remember that first year with Lamar, we couldn't beat him because Lamar was throwing it all over the yard and you really didn't know what to expect. But ever since then, they kind of been more run heavy. And I think, you know, Sean McDermott has been able to have a contingency plan for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. But at the end of the day, I just think that, you know, when you look at the Ravens, they're just a tough team. I mean, you know what I mean? Just tough. You know what I mean? It's just
For sure.
So the Bills, they bring the best out of the Bills because they play tough as shit against the Ravens for some strange reason. You know what I mean? They play with a different type of toughness against the Ravens than they do Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because of how they play. They play with a more, you know, smash mouth, you know, mentality. So it allows you to play that way. So I don't know. It brings a different style, right? So, you know, for some strange reason, the Bills, Baltimore always brings the best out of it. Obviously, the quarterback, you know, being drafted in the same class, you know, so those two are always going to be intertwined. And, you know, they're the best at it, you know, from that class right now. So, Bills play Baltimore, you know, on Sunday night and keep it prime time. So, prime time games 3 in a row, you know, for the Bills, you know, right there. So, you got Houston.
Houston at 1.
Houston at 1:00. That game could change. You know, that game could change because it is, you know, in Texas. So that'll be a central game. So it easily could be a 4:00 game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it easily could be a 4:00 game, but it's going to be on a Sunday, you know, nevertheless. You know, whether it's 1:00 or 4:00, it will be the Houston Texans. You know, for sake of normalcy, I say probably 1:00. But you know what? Yeah, I could say 1:00. It could be one. It could easily be one. They played the playoff there, you know, at 1:00. So yeah, that wasn't a problem. Or was that 4:00? That playoff game I think it was 4:00. So it went to overtime. So again, you know, either way, they got Houston. You know, October 6th. You know, in Houston. So the Bills are on the road. You know, back to backs right there. That's the first of back to back road games with the Bills. So you know, that's I guess you know we run into Stephaness. You know, so I guess they don't hype it up in a primetime matchup to give it too much hoopla, right? Let's just get the game on. I'm quite sure it's going to receive a lot of tabloids in the week, you know, going back and forth. But it's good to be on a normal day rather than a primetime game. So, again, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Was it Josh or was it Steph? We gonna see. We gonna see for
Hey,
sure. Definitely gonna see for sure. Week 5. Moving on to week 6, the Bills again hit the road. This time they had the New York City, play them Jets again, prime time. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen, duel it, probably, who's saying it could be Aaron Rodgers last year in the Jets uniform. So you might as well give it that prime time notion, right? And we all know what happened last time. He didn't finish the game. So, I guess they want to, report everything back to the same scene. But, the Bills got to change the outcome, because the Jets did end up winning that game without Aaron Rodgers. So, Bills, go back to New York, a new revised team, some new wide receivers, new offensive coordinator. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see another division opponent, see how Robert Saleh and that defense is going to be up against this O line and the new pieces that the Bills have. So that's going to be a dog fight. That game is definitely going to be a dog fight. That's going to be a personal game, obviously, right? We all know how Dion feels about the Jets. So again, that's another primetime game. So the Bills in 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks have 4 primetime games. And when I get the Bills out the way, we're gonna get a primetime spotlight as they should, because the Bills has been doing one of the best in the NFL, consistently.
right.
So there you go. You got 4 primetime games in 6 weeks. I don't think the Bills' entire season is going to be on prime time, but it looks like they're getting the Bills out of the way as far as that goes early with 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks. Moving on to week 7, the Bills return home and they play Tennessee.
Mhm.
Will Levis and D Hop come to town with a much revised receiving core too, better weaponry for Will Levis in his second year. You got Calvin Ridley. We all know who that guy is. And you got D Hop. You got that duo. Then you add Tyler Boyd, that trio. Again, another familiar foe that the Bills know as well. And man, you got your nice receiving core for Will Levis in the second year. You got Tony Pollard from the Cowboys, running back. So offensively, they're going to be a better team. Defensively, we already know what they bring in defensively. So again, it's going to be another conference matchup that the Bills are going to have to win at home. They're going to have to definitely win. Our games, they got to win at home. There's no ifs and buts about that. Every home game is a must win. On the road, we understand, but hey, you play the game to win. So Tennessee, another tough opponent. 1 o'clock game, week 7. The Bills hit the road again to Seattle. 4 o'clock game on the West Coast. October 27th. My first trip to Seattle, so I'm excited to go out there. That's, some of those, these road games, I haven't been yet, so it was good to see that the Bills will be traveling to Seattle, so I can at least knock that one off the bucket list.
Mhm.
That's going to be a tough game. DK Metcalf, I hope you don't remember me calling him DJ Metcalf in the presser with Pete Carroll and take it out. Yeah, that's not going to be an easy game either. You got Tyler Lockett over there. They revamped that defense. Man, that's going to be a solid game. But then again, it's on the road. Only on the West Coast, so all that stuff does play a factor. So that's going to be equivalent to playing 7 o'clock at night. That's going to look like a night game. As far as the Bills go, playing Seattle there. And the Bills come back home to Miami. You got this seesaw. You got this seesaw of a schedule now. 3 games on the road in a row in weeks 4, 5, and 6. You come back home week 7, then you hit the road again week 8 to Seattle. So that's again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the first 8 that's on the road for this Bills team. So yeah, you got Seattle. Then the Bills return home and play Miami. 1 o'clock game. It's not quite the element game that Bills fans would want Miami to come here to play in, but I guess they're giving Miami a little bit of a break. So Miami comes here top of November, and that's a 1 o'clock game. You get Miami out of the way. If the Bills could sweep Miami early in the season, that can definitely prove dividends on how the second half of this roster is going to shake out, because we all know teams get better towards the end. So if you want to get those early wins, especially you get one in on Miami twice, that's definitely a look good for the Bills when it comes to seeding and conference wins, because we know Miami is definitely going to beat some teams, some top teams in conference. So to sneak 2 in on Miami in the first half of the season, that would be volumes to how the rest of the season is going to shake out. So Bills at home versus Miami, week 9. Week 10, Bills go on the road again to Indianapolis. Not too far, but again, you're on the road. You got the quarterback there in his second season. See what he's going to do. You know what I mean? Can't say nothing about Pittman, but we'll have to see, about that game. But nevertheless, what's your thoughts on what I just mentioned as far as Seattle, Miami, and Indy? Your mic is muted.
My bad about that. You look at Seattle, of course, and Geno Smith, the guy that was drafted after EJ Manuel, still in the league. Hey, you know what? More power to him, though. That'll be a good game. The guys over there, a lot of talent, right? Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. They got a lot of talent to work with. Kenneth Walker, a lot of talent on the offense specifically. So that'll be a tough matchup for our defense to maybe see what they can do versus some really talented players. Miami at home, 1 p.m. That's the rivalry right there, at least as far as it's concerned in 2024. Maybe possibly the Jets could squeak into this whole division battle thing, but if last year's any indication, they won't be a threat, but we'll see what happens there. And of course, you got Indy at Indy. Indy is in a really, really tough division, right? Houston should be better this year. Jacksonville should be better this year. And then the Texans, I say Houston already. Houston, Jacksonville, and who am I missing? Tennessee. Tennessee may not be great, but the Colts have a chance to be great, right? I like Anthony Richardson personally. I think that he's extremely talented. And
Indianapolis over Tennessee?
Yeah, I would say so.
No,
I would say so. If I'm giving my divisional breakdowns, I would say that Tennessee finishes the season last. But we'll see what happens. You look at Anthony Richardson, if he's any good in the second year, with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Jelani Woods. Oh my God,
they got some weapons.
So if Anthony Richardson could even kind of sort of put it together, they're looking at 9-10 wins. If the team can follow suit. So hey, I like what Indy's doing. I think maybe they're a year away, possibly. But it's going to be a tough matchup in Indy. I think that the Bills should be able to handle that, but it's going to be a nice little sparring match nonetheless. But the following week is always the biggest game of the season, right? For us, probably for them, outside of the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. And then even for the NFL, really, as far as just talented teams go, you get Kansas City at home finally, right? We had them at home in the playoffs last year, and now they come back to the Ralph at 4 p.m.
Yeah, Bills get their lick back right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be the game that everybody wants to, that's the circle game on the calendar. That's the highlighted game. Again, Super Bowl defending champ, they come to your yard, and, you always want to see, how you fare against, the Super Bowl champ, right? So Bills always play them good, but they can never finish, right? I mean, we all know Bills beating Kansas City in regular season don't mean anything.
A couple years in a row, and it didn't matter.
Have to do it in the playoffs, but this is a good benchmark to see where you are. With again a new team, right?
Yeah.
How did this team fare? Virtually new than what the team that played against Kansas City last year. So that's what you're really going to get out of that game. And then again, that's for seeding, that's for everything in the division. So you want to get those type of wins, right? So that's week 11, and next week is Thanksgiving, and I know we do got Detroit on the schedule, but I don't think that they're going to go back to back Thanksgiving games. This isn't Dallas and Washington, or Dallas and who or Green Bay or something like that. I don't think they double up. I think the Bills will probably get the bye week right here. It just makes sense. Like, get everybody a break. Give everybody a break. Enjoy the turkey with your family and watch, the games. Bills have a great record on Thanksgiving. Make no mistake about it. But, man, that will be a thank you, especially if the Bills doing all these primetime games in the beginning of the season, right? So they give an ultimate break. Not only are we not even going to have you play a game on Thanksgiving weekend, you just got the whole week off. That whole weekend, everything off. Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
And coming off of the Chiefs game, if you can have that W and have a good record, if you can say only have 1 or 2 losses by the time you hit your bye week, you're looking great. Especially because you're going to need that rest, with 3 of your last 6 remaining games going to be NFC teams, right? And not just any NFC teams. You got 3 pretty solid NFC teams that could be competing for the conference championship next year. So that bye week is coming at a great time if that is the case.
Yeah, that is definitely coming out at the right time, because after that, you play San Francisco again. I don't know what it is. They like to give the Bills a bye while playing the Super Bowl, representatives.
Yeah.
They did that. They did that last year.
Yep.
They did that last year. It was what, KC and Philly, right?
Yep.
And it was a bye in between that. So again, now it's KC and San Fran with a bye in between. Hopefully, this isn't, just a prediction, right? This is a Super Bowl prediction, but everybody else pretty much, had the same schedule to this point. But yeah, that'll be nice. Come off that bye week and play, San Fran, at home. You know what I mean? Brock Purdy come to the crib, Debo and those guys, they come here on a Sunday night. And, again, that's going to be a big game, because San Fran is going to be playing some of the top teams in the AFC on their schedule as well. So, again, if the Bills can get a victory versus San Fran, that's going to be a good look, because they're going to beat a lot of teams in the AFC that's going to be fighting for a playoff spot. So, win, especially at home, that has its advantages, going into, the season, final stretch. After that, you got week 14, on the road again. Bills play the Rams. Wait a minute. Is it the Rams? Yeah, they do play the Rams. I forgot to say NFC West. Yep. No Aaron Donald. So I guess everybody can breathe a little bit with that. You ain't got to worry about that guy, this year.
The boogeyman.
Hopefully, he can come out of retirement at any given moment. And that is late in the season if they do play the Rams here, with it looking like week 14. You can't come out of retirement by there. But then again, just stay retired. Stay retired. And, you got Puka Nacua, to deal with. So, we'll see. And again, offensive-minded coach over there in L.A. Against, we're going to see who's called plays. Will it be Babbage, or will it be McDermott? I'm guessing it would be Babbage, based upon how things, the draft kind of lets you know. But I think it'll be Babbage. He's a younger guy, and you gotta let him. You gotta let him put new wrinkles on that stuff. Like you got rid of 28 players that knows his defense. Poyer, Trey
Yeah.
Wright, Floyd. These guys know that defense, so they need some new wrinkles, and so only Babbage can really. I mean, McDermott can add the new wrinkles too, but let the young guy cook. See what he got. Right.
The only thing that scares me about that is the last time we let a young guy cook, we ended up 5-5, losing to some bums.
Well, I don't think coach gonna let it. You know, it ain't gonna take that long for him to be like, hey,
right. And the beauty of that is, you don't have to sit there and wait for him to fire somebody before something changes, because he is a defensive minded person. He can just go in there and take over.
Yeah, we want to take over. He's just going to guide him along the way as he should.
Yeah.
Obviously this is his first rodeo being DC, so you got to guide him in that. You got to let him bump his head too a few times, and explain. That's just how coaches coach coaches. You know what I'm saying? So you got to develop coaches too, and they've been doing a good job, so far. But see what he got. Let Dorsey spin. You know what I mean? Let Babbage spin. You know what I mean? So he goes to LA. Bills on a road against it. Like the Bills got 1 million road games.
Yes, they do.
They got 1 million road games. Like, at Detroit. All right. So, that's not too far. Man, get come over to Motown one more time, see some peoples, duck and dodge a few potholes, because, we got our share of potholes and they got their share too. But that's gonna be a good matchup again. Detroit, no slouch. One of the top teams, in the NFL. Coach Campbell got those guys playing lights out right now. You got Goff in a new contract extension and all that good stuff.
Year Gibbs, another year Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Aiden Hutchins, man. Detroit
too. They had a pretty good drive. They got cornerback over there in Terranano.
Yeah.
So you add that to the mix defensively of what they was already doing defensively. Again, that's going to be a tough game. Bills have the 7th toughest schedule right now as of today. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are, every game is a tough game, including the division now. And that's where you shape up your roster. You play New England. And who's to say, New England might be good enough that you start flexing games. So I don't know what times he's going to be. You got divisional games. You got New England, Jets, and New England, on the road. So the Bills after that will have 2 home games, in the elements, for the fans and all that good stuff. And, they go on the road and play New England. In the game, hopefully that shouldn't determine anything. Hopefully, everything will be sorted out to the point where a coach can rest some players there. Not rest them the entire game, but, he can start pulling players, at that point, if the season do what, they're supposed to do. So, again, this is not 1,000%, as far as the schedule breakdown. We had our share predictions just like everybody else and some sources from here and there. But, other than that, it's just about what everybody else, has out there. It's not like I was, in a mess hall or I was in the cafeteria and overheard something. Or called a player and say, hey, man, what y'all playing this week? So, I ain't do all that. I stuff would have been reported. But, again, I think this is a solid schedule. But, we will see in a half hour. So, everybody go, sitting. I don't know if anybody tailgating the schedule party, but, we're going to find out, just what it is in half hour's time. And then, I guess we have to double back to really break this down and see, wins, losses, all that good stuff. What do you think about that, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to ask you what your season prediction is going to be, but probably better if we come and do just a breakdown of the season.
Yeah, we got to break down because schedule ain't the schedule until they really put it out at 8 o'clock.
For sure.
Then we could, do our predictions on wins and losses later on tonight. But I know everybody been itching just to say something about the schedule. So
for sure.
Well, let's do it. We had to catch up rookie mini camp anyway.
Like Coach said, schedule in 33 minutes. We'll see who the Bills play, when the Bills play them, and you guys can get your tickets and flights and hotels arranged and whatnot. So we'll see what happens there. But hey, you got it, man. The Buffalo Bills season schedule comes out tonight, and we will be here to let you guys know. We'll be here to talk about it, break it down, and tell you who we think is going to win, each game and what the Bills season overall might look like. Of course, there's still some free agent. We'll talk about mini game. We'll talk about we're gonna hold y'all down throughout the off season. Right. So that'll do it for us right now, though.
Oh, we're gonna have players on this year. We're gonna have guys on. It's gonna be lined out. It's gonna be.
Where you from? How you coming? What you repping? Call the repping. Oh, you said something. Tell your homie better chill. He don't ride. How we ride for
all right, Coach. You want to go ahead and send this out?
Man, you already know how that go. Rookie mini camp look pretty good. Still schedule. Do you believe?
Said to our players before every game, where else would you rather be than right